Hey guys, I wanted to make this video on how to prepare for a plant swap. I'm currently working on setting up a plant swap in my city called Louisville Plant Swap, and several of the people who are interested in attending have reached out to me, and one gal in particular, she said to me that she was really interested in coming, but she felt she didn't have the right plans. She felt she didn't have anything nice. And one gal reached out to me and just flat out said she wanted to attend, really interested, really excited, but she felt intimidated. She actually used the word intimidated. And I can completely understand that. The first time I went to my plant swap, I thought, no one's going to want my plants. I'm not bringing anything fancy. But here's the thing. You can bring any plant you have. You can bring, a pothos. You can bring a tradescanthia. You can bring... these little, people love these little money plants, or depending on the plant swap, some plant swaps will allow you to bring anything plant related. For instance, you never know when someone will trade will want to trade a watermelon peperomia for a grow light. So really you can bring this. You can bring fresh cuttings. You can bring a cutting with roots or a potted plant. So I'm going to go over those three things. So here goes. If you have plenty of notice, if you have at least a couple of weeks before the plant swap, what I like to do is just go ahead and start getting some cuttings ready. Most plants, like for instance these tradescanthias that I've gotten ready, I've got various types of tradescanthias. These little variegated and fluminescence. I love the ones with the pink on there. You can just cut from the bottom and they root very quickly. So like I said, my plant swap is until the 24th, so I have time to root some of these babies. Okay, so this is the first option. Now let me show you how this is going. Let me show you how beautiful. I always put a pothos cutting in with my plant propagation. For some strange reason, the roots grow a little faster, but check these out. Look at that. I started these last week, and look how beautiful those roots are. So, you can do that. You can go ahead and get started on some cuttings. You can start those up to 2 weeks ahead. Or let's just say you're a little closer to the swap date. You can bring in a fresh cutting. Okay, like for instance, I cut this tradescanthia. Not tradescanthia. This is a Monstera adansonii. Let's just pretend this is connected to my plant. The plant's outside. I couldn't bring in the whole plant. It's too huge. So with these types of plants, they have nodes and aerial roots. Just make sure you cut below the node, and you can bring in an unrooted cutting. Okay. Now let's say it's already, the night before, and you want to pot up your rooted cuttings, which is what I did. I started some watermelon peperomias. What I did, let me show you how I did this. I took a cutting off a watermelon peperomia, just like this. I just cut the leaf off. Boom. It's a couple weeks ago. And I just stuck it in water. And like I said, I like to put in a pothos cutting. It makes the roots go faster. Boom. That's how I like to propagate my watermelon peperomia. So from there, this is what I have. I potted them up. The roots grew in just like they did with these Beautiful roots. Now when you plant some new cuttings, you make sure you keep the soil damp. I do, because the roots are used to the water, so I like to keep it damp. But I have these going, and these are going to my plant swap. And look at this. The leaf may not look too hot, and like people maybe, I don't want that one. But look at this. It's got a baby coming right there. How about that? So the night before, I make sure all my plant cuttings are potted. And then in the morning, or if you don't have time in the morning before your plant swap, what I do is I get things ready for the swap. In that case, what I'll do is you have to make sure, some places are different, but most plant swaps will want you to put your name. I like to use my Instagram name because you just never know how many people, like for instance, if your name is Jane, how many Janes are going to show up and they're going to have Jane on their pot. So I like to put name and the name of the plants. So you have watermelon peperomia. Boom. So when people start looking at your plant, they know what to get. So let's say, for instance, now you're going to take, you don't have them potted up yet. You don't have time to pot it up. You're in a hurry. You know, things happen, life happens, and they're still just plain roots. That's great. I've taken plenty of those like that. So what I do in that situation, take a paper towel, wet it, and wet your paper towel. Paper towel. Okay, and I create like a little pocket. I go folded pocket, and I take my little plants. I put it in the little pocket, create a little pocket for it, right like that, and wrap, wrap, wrap. Let's try to squeeze some of this excess. Okay. So then you I take a little piece of plastic. The cheaper the plastic, the better, because it sticks to everything and anything. And you want a nice little seal on your plants so it stays moist. You want those roots to stay nice and damp. So you just cover it up. Here we go. Roll, tuck it in, roll tight, nice and tight, nice and tight, nice and tight. Okay. Again, you want to label your plants. And what I also do, I like to take some twine and I wrap it up a couple of times, a couple of inches. I don't know where my twine is right now. I would do it right now. And I tie a little bow. And the reason I do that is just for presentation. I think if people see that you take the time to make your little cutting look nice, they know that you're taking the time to provide a nice, healthy plant. And something else to keep in mind, please check your plants before you bring them in. You know, make sure there are no bugs, no mealy bugs, no spider mites. Make sure they're clean. So anyway, I like to make a nice little bow with twine. It just makes a nice little presentation. And again, I label my plants. Okay. You can do this. Pretend this does not say peperomia. It says Propagation. Boom. And boom. You can use a nice tag. There's people use nice little fancy tags. It just has to be labeled. That's it. So then now you know you have three options. You can bring in a fresh cutting, which, by the way, I do the same thing with this cutting just to protect the raw edge. I do the napkin, the wet napkin, and the plastic just to protect the raw edge. You can bring a fresh cutting, you can bring a rooted cutting, or you can bring the potted plants. And that's it. That's really it. I've got a few plants ready to go in my little and here's the nice thing too. You can use any container to bring in your plants. These are just some plastic containers I've gotten from coffee shops, and I just cut them and stick my plants in them. See, got that one. And once this peperomia starts to root, I'm gonna wrap it up like this. So I'll have a few options. Okay. This is a string of hearts that I have. I'm just gonna label it. I have them all in a little box and take them all in. I'm also gonna have a box set up. This is for the local people who are gonna go to the swamp. I'm gonna have a box that says, please adopt me. So if you have any plans that you're just not getting along with right now, you can just bring them and hopefully they'll find a new home. So that's about it. If you have any questions, you can message me. If I missed something, I probably did miss something. If I missed something, just add it below in the comments or shoot me a message. I'm sure I missed something. If you like this video, do me a favor, give it a little thumbs up. I'm just starting out with this. I'm brand new. So give it a thumbs up. I don't know if it's on this side, and the subscribe might be on this side. I would appreciate it. Hope this helps. Thanks, people. Bye.